on this gloomy Monday. We are turning into San Diego. I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting it out there. June gloom is a thing. We're reframing the whole weather in Portland. June gloom is a thing now, just like they have in San Diego. It's just going to be beautiful come July. You know?
I mean, it's going to be
and the rest
beautiful
of the year.
like starting tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Heck yeah, it is. Heck yeah. Summer 1.2. Gonna happen. Gonna happen.
It's got the firmware update.
Yep. All right, we got a big look. This is a big week here. We are gonna be. We are just mere 9 days away from the NBA draft.
Indeed.
9 days away from the NBA draft. We have got
of which we will be on location at 10 Barrel Brewing.
That's right. I love 10 Barrel. We are gonna be. We have the NBA Finals could be concluding tonight between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. We have the world is falling apart in the WNBA, and I'm absolutely sick of it, and I do not care one bit. Well, I mean, look, that may sound bad on the surface. I'll let you know why later, because just swing and a miss on opportunities here. We have the NHL Stanley Cup Final, which... Connor McDavid and the boys, they got back on the right way. And Stanley Cup Final aggregate? It's on aggregate?
No, it turns out no.
Oh, dang. Well, if it was, the Edmonton Oilers would be feeling real good about themselves right now. And then what else? Quite possibly the biggest choke job ever.
Probably up there.
I mean, and I don't think it's Jean Van de Velde bad. But it's Greg Norman bad. Rory McIlroy yesterday. Well, it's actually Rory McIlroy at the Masters bad too. Because this is not his first meltdown. We've got a ton that we've got to get to today. And we've got a lot of fun with audio, including unhinged baseball story. Did you see this one?
Which one?
Tristan Casas.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely
Makes
crazy.
no sense.
You're going College World Series.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the
Colt.
No, I think the conversation is actually which is the most terrifying fan base in sports? Like ones that you're not like, oh yeah, you go in there, it's a tough place to play. No, ones that might actually do something crazy. Like actually injure, harm, maim someone.
Go full the fan on them.
We had or Celtic pride. I mean, you want to go the fan? I'll go Celtic pride.
Yeah. Kidnapping action.
I'll take my foot off the gas and I'll go Celtic pride and have it like a cheeky and fun comedy kidnapping.
A light kidnapping as opposed to,
a terrifying thriller where Robert De Niro.
Are these books? Have you never seen The Fan?
Have you never seen Celtic Pride? Well, no, okay, what are we doing here? He's baited us. I
don't know what you're talking about. I would never bait you.
Right.
He's a master baiter.
Through you.
I would never bait you when you are trying to talk about these books that you read from your childhood.
You can't do this. You can't do it. No, I'm unflappable. This is not going to happen today. Not today, Ortner. Will Ortner's
Are these movies?
Yeah, they are.
Oh.
They are.
And from like ancient times?
Yeah.
Black and white?
From the 1900s.
From the 1900s.
From the 1900s.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Literally decades.
Yeah. It's from the 1900s. I mean, it's something that you wouldn't understand, I
was born then.
Which, by the way, yeah, you were born in the 1900s, bro. Like, you're going to go, there's going to be a time, Will, and it is going to be, you will go to a bar, and they will, because you're going to be single forever, they're going to ask you, they're going to ask you how old you are, and there will be a young woman who will go, oh, you were born in the 1900s?
It happened in college.
You were born in the 1900s? Gross.
She went, you're 23? Oh.
That's a tough look, bud.
I'm going to break you right now, Dusty.
That's a tough look.
A buddy of mine posted a meme that made me viscerally angry.
Oh.
When we were kids, we watched The Sandlot come out. It was a movie that released in 1993, set in 1962. That's 31 years.
Yeah.
1993 is 31 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be a movie coming out this year about growing up playing baseball in 1993. Would feel the same.
Yeah, for me, the Sandlot was the Country Haven Autumn mobile home park. We didn't have a neighborhood. I grew up in the country, so the closest thing to a neighborhood was a mobile home park,
the double wide park,
and we would go and we'd play baseball there.
We had
that's the closest thing that I got to a neighborhood until I was in middle school.
Yeah, we had the baseball fields at Vos Elementary, but we also had if you went further, you had the Raleigh Hills.
Yeah,
they have the massive what is it, 4 or 5.
Yeah, we didn't
fields out there.
Our problem was getting kids in one
central
location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the tough part.
Yeah,
yep.
I can see that.
Dang, 31 years ago.
Yeah,
man.
It was set 31 years in the past.
Wait, hold on. So Benny the Jet Rodriguez was playing in the bigs at 42 years old?
There you go.
Dude, that's not okay. Now I'm pissed at the movie. 42-year-old's not stealing home plate.
Well, no. It wasn't 1993 going back to 1962. It was just the movie itself was set in 1962.
No, but do you remember the Jet steals home? That was in present day. That was present
oh,
day.
You're right. Yeah.
So when the Jet steals home, and what's his name?
This is
Smalls.
It's Ricky Henderson, man.
Smalls just got arrested.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me find it.
Wow.
Was it for?
Are you sure it wasn't Squints? Squints or Smalls? Because doesn't Smalls live in Oregon?
I don't know. But if it was Squints, I mean, he did do the whole sleep kissing thing.
Tom Geary, a.k.a. Smalls from The Sandlot, arrested for throwing dumbbell onto neighbor's Jeep.
Damn.
Wow.
And he destroyed their window.
Well, I mean, that's what a dumbbell will do.
Wow. Where'd that happen at?
Searching.
Yeah, at Horry County. I don't know where that is.
Houston.
Well, didn't one of them live? Doesn't one of them live here or something like that? I don't know. Oh my God. There's wow. I'm looking at this TMZ video right now. There's what is it? Ring doorbell cam. He's got a knife. What the heck is going on here? All right. Well, disavow. But Smalls is calling Dodgers games. He's like Vin Scully. And now we're sitting here and
found the tie.
And Benny the Jet Rodriguez steals home. You can't be that old. He's not stealing home. Benny the Jet isn't doing that.
Hey, Ricky was stealing bases.
All right.
Ricky says Ricky was stealing bases then.
How old was Ricky when he got his last stolen base?
I want to say he was 40.
Yeah. So we're saying that Benny the Jet Rodriguez is better than.
I mean, he was the Jet.
Yeah. He was. He did outrun Hercules.
I found the tie-in for Oregon in The Sandlot.
Yeah, what is it?
His character.
Yeah.
That actor. His mom was murdered, and the suspect was arrested in Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. That's not cool at all.
No.
Wow. Dang. All right. Well,
Ricky's last stolen base came at 44.
Okay.
There you go.
So maybe.
Brookings PD got him in custody in Curry County, Oregon.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna go on the lam,
Brookings.
Oregon coastal towns is where you go.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Eastern Oregon, you go to those small towns, people are gonna be like, dude, you're not from here.
Yeah, no.
Who are you?
They'll out you real quick.
But the coastal towns,
it's a lot of come and go.
Yeah, people are going up and down, Highway 101 all the time, and so that'd probably be the way to do it. Wow. All right. Dang.
So that's a depressing tie-in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Back to we got the Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online, vancouverford.com. This says, Back to the Future happened in 1985, but traveled back to 1955. This is like if somebody from 2024 went back to 1994. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Well, I mean, we are talking
ago.
pre-mass internet at that point, so it would be a vastly different society.
That's BW before Will.
Dear God.
Did you just put yourself on the same level as Christ?
No. It is before me, though.
Oh, good God.
You know what? That is very true. I mean, like Will is thinking of himself as, Christ-like.
I did have hair that was the same.
Your hair was not. Like you need to stop romanticizing your hair looking good.
No, it didn't look good, but it was the same.
Yeah.
No,
it was long.
I've seen pictures of Jesus. It was quite beautiful flowing locks. Jesus
you saw a photograph of him?
I saw a photograph.
They were taking pictures back then.
Clearly a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man with beautiful flowing locks. Definitely not dark-skinned whatsoever.
6-pack abs.
Oh, man.
I like my Jesus to be jacked.
That I heard somebody over the weekend talking about like
Jack Jesus?
No, not Jack Jesus. Going back like 30 years ago, and it like young people not understanding Seinfeld, and how like this idea that like every little shenanigans that that Seinfeld got into could have been solved by a simple text message. Now that blows my mind that we're just sitting there and like young people are looking back and they don't have like the disconnect of technology like we have doesn't exist now. No. They're like, why didn't you just text them? It's like, because that didn't exist. Yeah,
you didn't.
They had to send a fax.
We didn't have mass proliferations of cell phones even yet. It's you don't have mass communication outside of telephone.
Why didn't they Google it?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't.
Yeah. 96, 97, I believe, is when we looked it up. It was in like the first proliferation of like AOL existed. I've said proliferation like 4 times. But yeah, and to make a phone call, you had to ask to use somebody's phone in an establishment, which they always frowned upon.
Yeah.
There's a payphone outside. Like, really?
Just a quarter.
You remember that?
Yep. I remember going to the movie theater and having to call my parents collect, be like, movie's over.
Oh, yeah, no.
Call from, movie's over.
Yep. Come pick us up.
Life must have been rough.
It was different.
No, it was awesome. You want to know why?
Simpler times.
You want to know why, Will?
Because no one videotaped you and got you in trouble?
That part's true.
And nobody knew where you were.
Yeah.
Nobody, like, you could just
go.
Sometimes you need to know where people are.
I mean, like, kidnappers really liked it, but, like, as a kid, you could also be like, I'm gonna go disappear for a while. Me and my friends, we're gonna go out for the day. It was like, all right, cool, see you at night. Make sure you're home by sundown. And you were like, all right, we out.
Gonna go do hood rat things.
That's right. We're gonna go ride our bikes everywhere. Absolutely everywhere.
And that's how you get Stand By Me.
Yeah.
You guys want to see a dead body?
Me and my idiot friends, like, and we challenged ourselves too, because I think I did something at the age of 13 that I don't think Will Ortner could do right now. At 13 years old.
What'd you do?
Me and my moron friends from Hillsboro, we were like, we're going to ride our bikes to downtown Portland.
Oh, God, you did that?
So, yeah. So we got a map, and we're like, we can't ride on Highway 26. Like, this is a non-starter.
Cowards.
No. It was just, like, against the law, too. I
walked home.
We mapped out a way to ride our bikes from Hillsboro to downtown Portland on our bikes, which, spoiler alert, going up over Barnes Road and down
which
Burnside,
way did you go?
It's far more dangerous than going on Highway 26.
Yes.
And we had a whole caravan of us. And then we just rode our bikes around downtown Portland, and then we're like, oh, crap, we got to get home.
Because it's going to take you a long time.
Yeah. So we rode the Max.
Oh, you threw them on?
Yeah.
Nice.
We just took our bikes on the Max, and we rode that bad boy home. And none of us had any money.
No.
Because we're idiot kids. And we spent every dollar that we had. And we just rode the Max home. And we barely made it before. And that was it. You got to be home by sundown. Be home by sundown. And nobody knew we did that until I think my parents found out when I was 25.
You did what?
Yeah. Like, yeah, we rode our bikes downtown. Went all the way over. But that was how we filled our time back then.
So are you saying like
TikTok?
I was gonna say, are you? Well, I don't have TikTok.
I don't think you could use a map right now and navigate your way.
I was gonna say, because if you're asking about navigation, I would suck at that. But
Yeah.
that's a flaw in
That-
me.
that
That's
Thomas
not
guy-
my age.
No, it's your age.
No,
and
it's
you.
your age.
No, I
dude,
can't get
That
around
that
it.
Thomas
that-
guide would eat you and your entire
Yeah.
generation alive.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I do remember the MapQuest days where you had to, like, print out the
Yeah.
MapQuest to Reedville so
Yeah.
you could go play your JBO baseball tournament and being
No.
like, Dad, it's
Hell
coming
yeah.
up soon-ish.
No, no,
Reedville's
no.
got great fields too.
Little League Parks.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. A
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of Reedville tournaments.
Lad Acres
You know what?
Elementary.
You know what? R.I.P. to Alpenrose.
Oh,
It's getting tore up, I believe, this summer.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yep.
There you go.
We never knew ye.
But no, the Thomas guide would eat you alive because you either had to write it down on a piece of paper, which paper around the house was not something you always had.
Yeah.
Do you mean stationary?
No, you just like pick up an envelope and you just write on it.
Like you just found something.
I got that's a throwback joke
Yeah.
because you didn't know what stationery was, Will.
Yeah, because Suk used a $1 word for a 10-cent issue.
No.
Just say, where's paper, bro?
No. Okay. We're not gonna rehash this. Will didn't know what stationery was. You know now.
Well,
And you used it in a sentence.
I know stationary of, like, you're standing stationary.
Oh,
but
God.
yes.
All right. Okay. I don't know where we went or how we got there, but I'll be damned if that wasn't a segment. All
There
right.
you go. Babe.
We got a ton to get to. Let's party on this Monday. This weekend showed us just how hard winning a championship is. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
It's
Yeah. This weekend kind of proved it to everybody. You had on Friday night, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, where Boston was looking for the sweep in Dallas, and they lose by 38 points. At one point, trailed by 48. They were almost down a 50-burger in that game to the Dallas Mavericks. And they will now head back to Boston for Game 5 tonight. You have the Edmonton Oilers facing a sweep on their home ice in the barn. And the Florida Panthers, they choke the championship away in Edmonton with an 8-1 loss, a blowout equivalent to a 48-point loss in basketball. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Will, but I've always heard that like each goal is akin in hockey to a touchdown in football, right? Like they're tough. Tough to get.
Tough to come by. Yeah.
So you're looking at
even with scoring getting a little bit better over the last couple of years, it's still they're tough.
So you're looking at like a 56-7 basketball game here. That's very similar to what we saw with Game 4 of the NBA Finals. And then yesterday, we wrap up our sports weekend with Rory McIlroy choking away the U.S. Open and Bryson DeChambeau winning the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 after entering the day with a lead. But Rory with the 2-stroke lead with 5 to play into the side of the mountain. Winning championships is really damn hard.
4-footer.
Twice.
Good. And then, and we'll talk about it individually, but that bunker shot was world class from Bryson.
Well, yeah, it was a 1.7% chance of putting that bad boy inside of 4 feet. 1.7% chance. Lou Stagner, who does like golf analytics, he tweeted that out. Bryson's bunker shot on 18 was from 55 yards. He hit it to 3 feet 11 inches. The chances of hitting it inside of 4 feet was 1.7%. One of the greatest clutch shots of all time. It truly was. And Bryson DeChambeau, absolutely, like, he was amazing down the stretch of that tournament. He was scrambling. He was spraying his driver all over the place. Yet he was the best scramble golf you could ever imagine down the stretch. It was textbook what Bryson DeChambeau was doing. And that was a really fun finish to the U.S. Open yesterday. But I'm sitting here, and as I was watching that meltdown from Rory and watching him just stew in the clubhouse yesterday, it really got me thinking, like, of how we just automatically assume, like, hey, all right, they're going to roll over. This is going to be easy street. They even said it on the U.S. Open when Rory was, like, hit that shot, and it was, like, the 2'6" putt. He's like, well, he's going to par here. And it was like, not so fast, my friend. It ain't that easy. And
being cheesy.
Don't give credit to the opponent. It's always like, oh, they choked that away. Boston, they choked it away. Florida, they choked it away. Rory, he choked it away. Well, there's a lot of pressure being applied and a lot of pride coming from the other side, especially from the two teams in series where they're about to get swept. And it is like, no.
Sweeping a team in professional sports is hard, even at the lowest levels of the playoffs. When you get to the finals, it's incredibly difficult to do, because even if there is a world-class generational team, you're still going up against a very good team. Like, it's not a common thing. Like, the ability to beat a playoff caliber team 4 times in a row, mathematically, it's not impossible, but it's on the very difficult scale, because the probability goes, particularly when you're going home and away, you're going to have variation, and you're going to end up losing probably one of them. That's just, like, all time, the number of teams that have won 75% of their games. So it's a very small list.
It's ridiculously small. I mean, Boston was on the precipice of winning 80% of their games on the season. They're going to, if they win tonight, they'll finish at like 79.8% or whatever.
Cowards.
Yeah. What a bunch of losers they are. But
I did love how Boston media was really driving that home. Look, see, generational team. And then they took a generational throttling instead.
Well, if they win, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I know, but I do love watching Boston media have to eat that crow a little bit. I told you I don't like New England sports.
Yeah, I don't. You have an
all.
axe to grind with the Boston Celtics. That
no, just greater Boston.
Yeah, but no, the Celtics especially. Like you don't like Tatum.
I don't like the way that he's discussed because it's become pretty clear that who the more important player is.
Yeah, you don't like Peyton Pritchard either.
I think that the local fan support for him drives me crazier than anything else. He should be starting. No.
You don't like Joe Mazzulla.
I don't think many people like Joe Mazzulla. He's very weird.
I mean, I
like Joe.
He's a different bird.
He's just a weird dude.
Yeah.
I love Drew. I love White.
Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Derek White.
Porzingis is weird.
That's a drop, by the way. Yeah, you know what to do with
that. I love White.
Yeah.
You and Soup, dude.
Yeah. Stuff.
That's like it. Well.
Porzingis is I'm kind of ambivalent towards, but I kind of like a little redemption story with him. But have you ever noticed when he interviews, he like drops his chin and looks up through his eyebrows, like very Herman Munstery?
No, I have not.
It creeps me out. It's very Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket. Like he has this thing that he does. It's just every time I watch him post game, I'm like, he looks like he's gonna kill somebody in that room. I think it's just a natural thing that he does, though. It's very alarming. But yeah, no, New England. I think the only New England sports team I've ever liked in my lifetime was the Boston Bruins that had Zdeno Chara and Lucic and Tim Thomas. Like that was a fun hockey team. But otherwise, I've hated all New England sports forever.
Since the Tuck rule.
That one hurt. Yeah, that was really when I think probably started.
It's text. Hey, Dusty, we can connect the dots. Danny's hate for the Boston area. I bet dates around the Tuck rule. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's where it started for you.
Yes. Thieving, cheating Patriots, robbing my Raiders of a Super Bowl probably had something to do with that.
Yeah. Yep. But I think that when we look at it, the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Final, where the reactions have been like, "Oh, Dallas is back. Oh." Edmonton is back. We always say don't overreact to one game, right? And this was a game where you see it all the time. And that's one of the parts that's so hard about sweeping another team is you also have the team with a 3-0 lead is like, dude, we got to win one of our next four. And that's it. And you're looking at a Boston team that has not lost 3 consecutive games all season long. They're in a position where they have to lose 4 consecutive games.
It's tough.
And
again, the whole winning 4 straight thing. I would like to see Dallas win the next 2 to get to a game 7.
See what pressure feels like.
Just to see how Boston handles it. Just to see what that to me, like for science, I would love to see how that would go.
There would be a lot of squirming. I think we may see a sacrifice or 2 happen in the greater Boston area. Like, remember when the Rockets fired their social manager for the gun to the horse?
Oh, yeah.
When they beat the Mavericks?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you may actually see people, like, try to injure or harm horses in the Boston area to, like, get the mojo back in their way because they
an uptick in production at the glue factory.
Absolutely psychopaths. I'm
do a sponsorship agreement with Elmer's.
Gee. Wow. You know what is bothering me about the Mavericks, though?
What's that?
They haven't worn their white jerseys one time.
I really don't like how we've got away from home white, particularly in the NBA Finals. I love white.
That's an out of context drop that may hurt you.
Yeah.
They go navy blue twice at home. They wore 2 just absurd uniforms in Boston for the first 2 games. Like, you deserve to lose.
Yeah.
When you're wearing neon green and anthracite.
Bring the traditional Mavs jerseys back.
Yeah. Just bring them all back.
It's not tough.
Let's bring them all back. All right. So outside of uniform talk, hey, the Celtics and Mavs are back in Boston tonight. How big is that cause for concern? Or is Boston just being gentlemen? Here's Will with SportsCenter. Looked like a mail-in job of epic proportions by the Boston Celtics.
I mean, it's not very normal to get steamrolled in that fashion in any game when you're that successful of a team, but let alone an NBA Finals game.
And can I just say that the Boston Celtics, when they go deep in their bench, boy, they have it's like a Temu version of NBA greats. Isn't it? Like, what is it? Is it Cornette who looks like Gordon Hayward?
He does look like a little bit like bigger Gordon Hayward. But I mean, I think you could say it about.
I don't know who's number 12. Is that Brissett? He looks like Jaylen Brown.
O'Shea as opposed to Jacoby.
Yeah. He looks like Jaylen Brown. And then you got a kid that I loved when he came here for the LSI, but Jordan Walsh. Everybody's like, is that Charlie Villanueva on Twitter? It's like, no, he's been on this team all year long. He was a first-round draft pick for them. He played at Arkansas last year. He was really damn good at Arkansas, too. Like, he played at Link Academy in Missouri, and they came for the LSI. And I was like, dude, this guy is bonkers. He was so stinking good. And I was just like, everybody was just like saying how all of the guys on the bench for Boston look like other people. And I was like, what are we doing here?
I mean, that's what you had to kind of come up with. I mean, did you hear the broadcast crew, the way that they were riffing in the third quarter? It got unhinged very quickly because it wasn't like, well, maybe Boston can come back.
Yeah.
It was like, no, this is over.
And they pulled the ripcord early, and we're just like, we're going to try and close this thing out at home. Now, that is a slippery slope that you're on. Like the whole, no, we just don't have it tonight. And look, we've been talking about this throughout the entirety of the playoffs. The shot making of the Boston Celtics has been ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from their role players too, whether it's home or away. And when you have guys like Derek White going 2 for 8, Jaylen Brown goes 3 of 12, Tatum 4 of 10 along with Drew Holiday. It was just like those shots that we'd come accustomed to seeing fall, they weren't falling early, and they sure as heck weren't falling late because none of those guys were in the basketball game at that point. Now, when you look at on the flip side, Dallas, they were. Everything was just boom, 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 boom early in that game.
Well, and the thing was, we kind of, I think, buried the lead in a sense. With no Kristaps Porzingis, there was significantly less deterrent in the paint. It wasn't like the Mavericks just like got fire from 3 like the Celtics do, and it was like a snowball where it was, you rolled downhill and it's an avalanche.
And we saw that game 3 with Kyrie Irving getting to the rack early.
Yep, and without that presence in there, even though he was cleared to go. Can we talk about this here for a second?
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis' injury, by every doctor on the face of the planet that has discussed it, has said, well, typically, number 1, it's incredibly rare. Number 2, the recovery timeline for it is 6 to 8 weeks and generally requires surgery. Yet in the NBA and in their parlance, he's day-to-day.
Well, okay. To me, when I saw that report that he would be available, for Game 4, that was what we usually see with every championship game in the clincher. They were going to put Tatum, Holiday, White, Brown, and Porzingis on the floor together to close it out. He was going to be the human victory cigar. They were just going to roll him out there, and for the last possession, when the ball gets thrown in the air, he was going to be out there not doing anything.
Yeah, because I don't think he can play right now.
And I think that he wanted to be in a uniform during the celebration, as opposed to in street clothes, where everybody would be like, Porzingis.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he's playing the rest of the series.
No, I mean, no, unless it is the situation I just described of.
But I mean, it's like functional basketball.
They're up by 8 with 30 seconds to go tonight, and they just say, go ahead, peg leg your way out there, Kristaps, and you can be on the floor as we close it out. That's the only scenario I envision him playing.
Maybe I'm wrong, but typically injuries that are going to limit somebody for 2 months, you don't come back from in 2 weeks.
Especially with the injury history of Kristaps Porzingis.
And being 7'3".
Yeah.
Now, back to this game and this series in general. the Mavericks have decided when Porzingis isn't on the floor, we're going to pummel you in the paint. And that's what they did. They just absolutely pummeled them. They hit 5 threes in the first half. The Celtics hit 5 threes. Neither team shot well from 3 in the first half. But only Tatum and Brown hit more than a single shot for the Celtics in the first half. Horford didn't even take one in the first half. Like, you limited them and destroyed them so effectively and so often early on. And don't get me wrong, the Mavs hit some pretty high-level shots, but this wasn't like the Mavs in the first half shot 52%, which is good. Yeah. But we're not talking.
It wasn't like they weren't 68%.
This wasn't the Miami Heat against the Celtics where it was like, oh my God, they're hitting everything. They were slightly above average.
Yeah.
And that was the thing is like, so as much as you're like, oh, well, the Celtics fumbled and the Mavs really rode this wave, if Porzingis is out, there's a sliver of light there that if the Mavs can do it, if they can kick that door open, it does put the Celtics under pressure. The Celtics should still be wildly favored in this series by infinite amounts, but I don't think you can overstate just how important Porzingis has been or had been for the Celtics in the series.
Well, I'll tell you as well, I think there's a lot to Kyrie Irving has got to play in Boston like he did in Dallas. Because in Boston, the crowd was getting to him. He didn't look comfortable. He didn't look confident. He shot, 35% from the field in the games in Boston and went 0 for 8 from 3.
Yeah, he hit his first 3 in Dallas.
He has got to play better. And on top of that, I don't think he went to the free throw line one time.
No, he didn't.
In Boston. It's like you have got to be aggressive. And he looked like he was lethargic. He looked like he was checked out at times. That has got to change for Game 5 tonight if Dallas wants to keep the series alive. Yeah, if they get what they got from him in Games 1 and 2, they're done tonight.
Yeah, and as far as Dallas is concerned, they get the kind of bench production they got even before the Celtics pulled everybody.
Yep.
Then it becomes a spicy game tonight.
Spicy. All right, 503-864-6326. That's a Vancouver Ford text line. Father's Day was yesterday.
It was.
Yeah, dads around, unite. A wild tale from a big leaguer next on The Fan. Where they just sprung this on me. I didn't know how to react. Top 3 baked desserts. What a loaded question that is. Because I was sitting there just like, you go cookies, you have cakes, you have pies, you have, brownies of sorts, tarts, if you will.
I think I could actually do this pretty simply.
Yeah, okay. Go. You give me your 3 and I'll give you mine.
Straight original cheesecake.
Oh, wow.
Like absolutely like New York style cheesecake. Snickerdoodle cookie.
Okay.
And to throw it off a little bit, key lime pie.
Boy, that's
the list.
That is wild. Okay. All right. Will?
I'm with Danny. I love a good cheesecake. Specific chocolate chip cookie. Deb Ortner's homemade chocolate chip cookie.
That was on my list.
It should be.
Deb's.
Deb's,
of course. Yeah.
Deb's chocolate chip cookie.
Your mother's chocolate
My
chip
mother's
cookies.
chocolate chip cookie.
I don't know. Otis Spunkmeyer has something to say about that.
And then it's not dessert, but the way I eat it, it probably should. My mom makes these like biscuits, and I'm only saying this because I had half a tray myself for Father's Day. And you can turn them into like a strawberry shortcake kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm all in on that.
Okay. Here's another one. Do you bake all cheesecakes?
I mean, the fake. There's the fake ones.
I think like no bake cheesecake.
Yeah, no, but I'm like I say,
real thing,
I'm talking like a full on like New York style cheesecake where when you're done with it, it gets put in the freezer, and you need like the world's heaviest, thickest, sharpest knife to cut into it.
Yeah, I went chocolate chip cookies #1. My wife's homemade ones.
Not Deb's.
I'll take Deb's cookies. And then I went.
Better not. I'll beat you up.
Yeah,
those are
mine. I went chocolate, chocolate fudge brownies.
Okay.
I mean they're so good, like a gooey brownie.
Yeah, yeah.
Kidding me? And then I went. This one surprised me, but it's what my heart told me. Apple pie. I went apple pie.
I'm not a heavy crust pie guy. That's why I went key lime.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But that's the thing is it can't be too crusty. You can't have crusty pie.
No. Look, I will say my namesake is pretty good too.
Meringue, lemon meringue pies,
lemon desserts. Yeah. You know what? Screw it. I'm dropping the key lime. Lemon bars.
Lemon bars. Out of left field.
A perfect lemon bar is one of the best, if not the best dessert on the planet. When it's done just right, where it has like that, I mean, not even like a crust on top, but like just enough of like a little where like it's solid, but it breaks apart, and then it's gooey in the middle. Oh God. I just made my mouth water. I don't even like sweets.
Bread pudding's pretty good too.
Bread pudding, that's coming in on the text line.
I've been brought into bread pudding. Also, chocolate peanut butter pie. My mom bakes that too. It's really good.
All right.
It's my favorite.
Coming in on the text line, rhubarb pie. That can be hit and miss.
That can be very much.
Miss. But if you get the right one, is money. New York cheesecake, and then peanut butter cookies. Peanut butter cookies. Yeah. You know what they tried to tell me when I said chocolate chip cookies?
What?
Well, all of mine, really. They're like, well, I mean, we're talking no milk. I'm like, no, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
No, I will have
but even
milk,
then, look.
and then I will have ice cream on my apple pie.
I'll tell you this. Linda in sales, she brings in delicious homemade baked treats occasionally, and she makes a righteous chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah. Good chocolate chip cookie, man.
No, it not too thick, not too thin. You got to have the ratio of chips. Did you get the Otis Spunkmeyer cookies in middle school?
Oh yeah, at high school where the student store would sell them. And
you had them in high school, so we had them in middle school. Yeah. They'd show up they'd show up in the delivery van, freshly baked.
Oh no, we had an oven in the student store where they would bake them.
Wow, they trusted the
to
students
order. No, they shouldn't have. There was so much lost inventory there.
Yeah,
like I mean, it would just
cookie
be
dough
like,
just gone.
If your friend was back there, you just like slide them across to you. I mean, it was not a great situation to be had there, but
profit and loss not looking too great.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it.
They would show up, I think, if I remember right, middle school. I think it was Thursday afternoons.
Really?
It was
every day.
It was $1 for the 3-pack.
Oof,
came in the little paper wrapper thing, but they were fresh. Oh God.
Ooh, berry cobbler. I had an unbelievable. It was a smoked Marionberry cobbler, and it was unbelievable.
That's interesting. Smoked berries.
Yeah, dude, so good.
Okay.
It was like.
What are we doing? Like hickory smoke? Like what are we doing here?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't know what they what kind of pellets they used.
They put it in a smoker or like a Traeger type deal.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah, it
was
a smoker. It was a smoker. Like it wasn't a Traeger. It was one being pulled by a truck. It was so good though. It was so damn good. I'll go back 10 times out of 10. All right. Flourless chocolate cake with raspberry demi-glaze. Wow. That coming in. That is very specific of what you like. I don't like the chocolate with raspberries.
Really?
No.
There's a
it was my
we
always give my mom a hard time about this because my mom would every birthday for my sister and I, we'd get a chocolate cake with raspberry filling.
Because that's what she liked?
We don't like this.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, I thought you loved it." Twice a year. Twice a year for a decade. It was like no.
You wanted the funfetti?
No, you know what? I'll take white cake with raspberry filling. I'll enjoy that. I like most cakes. I just didn't like the chocolate.
The lemon
with raspberry.
filling. That's one that sneaks up on you. That's a good one.
It is pretty good. All right. Yeah, that caught me off guard when I went back. I got jumped by that.
Did you give him 3 straight though?
I gave him. Yeah, it was off the top. It was the cookies, the brownies, and
I wasn't sure if you had to think it out as you're walking back here. It's a long walk from that kitchen back here.
Yeah, no, I get it was right on cue. Those are my 3. I'm not going to change them, but I will ride with that. Although I do know that there's a lot of other desserts that I'll be like, oh yeah, should have gone there.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
I'm
now.
A man of my word.
Snickerdoodle,
it was what my heart went with.
Lemon bar, cheesecake.
Yeah, treats are so good. Desserts amazing.
Mm.
Do you know people that go dessert first? There are people who go dessert before dinner.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Would you put a blueberry muffin as a dessert?
No.
Okay.
No. It's a breakfast item.
That's what I thought.
It's totally unhealthy, but a breakfast item.
It's a breakfast dessert item.
There you go.
That's right.
Is really what muffins are. But I'll go dessert first depending on what the dessert is, and sometimes just dessert only.
Oh.
That just sounds weird to me.
All right.
Like my stomach just kind of went at the thought of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I also had steak for breakfast today. My stomach's a weird thing.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. A little leftover steak and eggs in the morning?
No.
Just
I
steak.
cooked the steak.
You cooked
spinach.
the steak.
Yeah.
And spinach.
Spinach is a little weird in the morning, but
What is wrong with
I've got the other one in here
Just
right
do
now.
steak and eggs, man.
Yeah.
I don't have eggs. And I needed protein after my lift.
Eggs, great source of protein and cheaper than steak.
Yeah, but I bought 2 steaks.
Which you could probably buy 3.5 packs of eggs for.
Do you buy steaks at the Dollar Tree?
Not anymore, but I did.
Okay, it's all making sense now.
Yeah, the top of that top sirloin, it may not be what you think it is.
When you have $25 for food and beer, you need to find items that are cheap, and we couldn't go cheap on beer.
$18.
That's right. See, there are priorities that you have.
All right. That's fair. All right. Rory chokes away the U.S. Open. Let's dive into this one because what a heck of a round it was at Pinehurst #2 yesterday. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
So
1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080am the fan, or youtube.tv/1080am the fan. Welcome. Let's party on, party animals. What a finish it was to the U.S. Open.
Another epic up and down at Pinehurst for a U.S. Open championship. Bryson DeChambeau now has 2, the second at number 2.
How about that roar from the crowd at Pinehurst number 2 as Bryson DeChambeau ends up finishing off a roller coaster of a round, came in as the leader entering the final round of play. And you sat there, you saw the lead just kind of dwindle away. And then on 15, Rory McIlroy had a 2-stroke lead heading into the final push of the U.S. Open. And he goes 3 over par in the final 4 holes.
Is that good?
At Pinehurst.
I mean, for me, it's good.
No, it is not. It is not. And it was a choke of epic proportions by Rory McIlroy. We saw guys struggle across this course time and time again, but Rory's was different. It wasn't the nature of the course in it being baked out, in it being hard, in spraying it, because everybody was doing it. It came down to the clutch nature of finishing off a major championship. 496 of 496. That was Rory McIlroy's run of putts inside of 4 feet.
Is that good?
He was 29 of 29.
Oh,
I think that's what it was.
crap.
It was like 29 of 29 at the tournament, like at the U.S. Open inside 4 feet. And he missed 2 of them. 2 of them in that final stretch that ended up dooming his round. That right there is the difference between ending your decade-long streak of major hiccups and not winning a major. You make one of those. Just one of them.
And you're fine.
And you're giving yourself a chance in a playoff.
Mm-hmm.
You make both of them, you are the U.S. Open champion. And Bryson DeChambeau made shots down the stretch and made incredible shots.
That bunker shot was otherworldly. When he hit it, I thought he got too much of it because of how much sand came up and the sound it made. I was like, oh no, he skied it. And then it just lands like it had wings on it.
Yeah. I read this earlier, but this comes from Larry Stagner, who's a Golf Pro Stats guy. Bryson's bunker shot on 18 was from 55 yards. He hit it to 3 feet 11 inches. The chances of hitting it inside 4 feet was 1.7%. One of the greatest clutch shots in golf. Two things can be equal. You can have a situation where Rory choked it away and Bryson ended up grappling that championship back into his favor, because that's what you saw on 18 alone. When DeChambeau goes so far left, I was like, is that luxury suite on 18? Is that in the way of his view? He has a tree root and a branch hanging over him. An odd stance. His caddy's like, we don't get relief here. I mean, like, the root goes in front of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
An incredibly tough shot. And then he skids it out and gets a ton of it. And everybody's like, oh, well, yeah, it looks like we're going to a playoff. He went into the bunker. And then that ability, that scramble and he was scrambling all tournament long because his driver was a mess.
Well, I mean, did you see the clip of him? Was it at the 13th when he goes back and forth with the gallery? Please don't boo me, guys.
Yeah.
And he puts his driver away and lays up and goes 8-iron off out of the tee box because of exactly that.
It was he was brutal on that drive on 18 was. I mean, I've done that. There's not a lot of shots I have in my bag that are a pro golf shot. That far left, I've done it. I've been there.
Did you catch the clip from earlier in the week on Bryson trying to speed him up?
No. Trying to speed who up?
The pace of play. The timer on the tee box was giving Bryson crap about keeping it going, but the group in front of him was still on the green. He looks back at him and goes, you put me on the clock still? Yeah, okay, cool. Because they're still on the green. Like, it was It was a little weird. There was just a couple little weird instances that popped up with Bryson this week.
I don't know if I've seen anybody who has had a shift in the public perception of him than Bryson DeChambeau has in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I mean, we think of like, everybody's like, oh, the Liv thing. Like, people turned on him because people were turning on him way before Liv.
Yeah.
Because remember, he would hit a bunker shot. And remember when he got pissed off at a cameraman because he was in the bunker? He's like, oh, wait, you only want to film my bad shots? You're never around when I shoot the good ones. And the camera's like, dude, I'm behind you like all the time. It doesn't matter where you are. I will be here like zooming in on a tight shot because you're one of the best golfers in the world, right? Like he had that. He did not get it. He didn't understand what comes with being a star. And we see this in all sports and it kind of crosses over, but it takes a really long time for people to acknowledge it and see it. It's crazy to say this, but like YouTube may have saved Bryson DeChambeau's career because the YouTube shorts and remember the weird bicep curls where everybody's like roasting him at the beginning, like, dude, you're not even doing anything. You're just throwing weight around and you're probably going to hurt yourself doing that. It went from that to actually he puts out entertaining content, connects and engages with his fans, and has created new fans in that way. And he has kind of taken that in like the kind of dabbling online, and he's doing it with the galleries now, and he's doing it in person. And, you know, whether it was Rory signed a ball and flipped it to the kid in the wheelchair. Bryson walks right by, signs his hat on the way by. The Bryson DeChambeau at the PGA when he threw the ball to the kid and the adult grabbed it and he's like, hey,
no, give it to the kid.
Get back here. And then it kind of culminated with him in that shot yesterday where he just goes, yeah, let's go. And he's engaging with the crowd in the bleachers.
Airmailed that ball into the crowd too. And I think somebody dropped it. He was like, having some fun. And then what I thought was really interesting was how many people he had there supporting him. Like the Bryson DeChambeau group. Yeah. The number of bro hugs was in the dozens before he got to the clubhouse to sign his card.
And that, to me, it's awesome to see because we are in a world now where we just want to, like, knock people down. And, like, Bryson DeChambeau is proof that, no, you can pick yourself up if you're just not going to play the victim the entire time, right? You can be proactive in your image, in what you say. And I think a lot of people have turned on Rory McIlroy because of the fact that, you know, whether it was Liv or him just kind of being pouty and whiny about how the PGA has treated their players, which a lot of people do agree with Rory McIlroy on that one who are on the tour. But at the same time, you sit there and you go, all you do is just sound like you're whining and complaining. And then after it's over, for him to just deuces, I'm out. I don't like the way that all went down. I mean, people were like, "Do you see what Bryson did at the PGA to Xander? Like he was there and he gave him a bro." Bryson DeChambeau did not melt down like Rory McIlroy did.
Nor does he have a decade of it chasing him.
Yeah, this was like Rory's meltdown was.
It's one of the worst.
It's still not like Jean Van de Velde, right? But it's Greg Norman. It's Rory himself at the Masters melting down.
Oh, this is something that we talk about throughout the rest of his career.
It will be one that people will never forget. Rory going 3 over on the final 4 holes when you have a 2-stroke lead in a major championship and everything was going your way. And you miss, and it wasn't like it was
you missed a
UNLV in the course, you know, fought back against you and it was unfair. No, the guy who did it made the shots and you didn't.
Yeah. And one of yours was a 4-footer.
And so 2 of them were inside of 4 feet. The last one was a tough putt. Like it was not an easy putt. The one before that, though, you just got to throw your hands up and be like, man, you may just not have it between the ears to win because you saw the pressure mounting. I thought they noted it on the broadcast. And right when they said it, I go, this is going to break Rory. this will break Rory. Because on 17, Rory goes over the green, and he has to scramble back, and he ended up, I think, parring that hole on the par 3. He had a great shot. I go, if Bryson sticks this though, Rory might melt down because they mentioned you can see from the 18 tee box, it's right next to the 17 green. So you can see exactly what everybody else is doing. Yeah. And when Bryson hit it tight, I was like, oh, or not even hit it tight, put it on. And it was like, no, he's going to be right here.
Yeah.
And you have to make shots on 18. I said, he might melt down. And I didn't think it would happen that way, though.
They said basically the whole back 9 that Rory or Bryson, basically whoever was up next, had to wait till the other person had their shot just in case they heard a big uproar in their backswing or like even into their downswing. So from basically hole 10 on, they were just like, okay, when is Bryson going to shoot? Okay, Bryson shot, now I can shoot. When's Rory going to shoot now? So it almost built up even worse in their heads than if they were playing with each other because you can't really build on any momentum of like, all right, I know my partner's going to shoot and then I can shoot and I'm shooting well so I can continue to build. And that's might have what got to Rory as well.
Yeah, I think that we're just seeing Rory McIlroy. This may be one that we see it with golfers, we see it with professional athletes all the time. I mean, this could be like a longer looming loss than just this week. It could be moving forward. How well does he play? Does he kind of melt down? There's been a lot going on in Rory's life too. You know, we found out this week that divorce off, back together, happily married. You know, there's been a lot going on, dude. I would not be surprised one bit if we saw Rory be a different golfer for a long time.
Until he can settle it out.
Yeah. Yep. One thing I did love.
Excruciating short misses from McIlroy coming down the stretch.
USA! USA! USA!
We actually have some news on that.
USA! USA! That was, I love that it was like, I don't even really like Bryson DeChambeau all that much, but you know what I love? America. And Rory's not American. I'm going to go USA. I did think it was a little classless when Rory missed his putt that they were chanting USA. Didn't like that. But I love the fact that everybody's just like, America. We are going to be chanting USA as Bryson is charging down the stretch because why not? You know, why not just give a good USA chant anytime you can?
Made me $100 richer.
Oh, you bet on Bryson, huh?
I bet on him on Wednesday.
Do we know what the line was on Bryson when he went down 2 strokes? When he was down 2, I wonder what number you could have gotten Bryson at.
Probably plus 800, I would imagine. Probably around there.
Yeah,
on Wednesday I got him at 20-1. So I would assume kind of in that ballpark.
That's
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I bet we were hovering right around like plus 340. 340 is a number that I saw him at for a little bit, but yeah, that was an
2 and 2 to go though. That's tough.
No, it was 2 with 5.
Oh, it was 5 to go.
2 with 5 to go, and then Rory went down the stretch. Hell of a golf tournament though, and really entertaining drama down the stretch. But now
I cared about golf though.
We did care.
That was
about
the thing
golf.
is like I cared about golf.
Yeah,
first time in a while.
Which is great for the game. And there's a lot more that we can unpack from this, including Rory McIlroy taking off early, and the media reaction to that was absolutely ridiculous. But let's go to a little bit of football. We got wide receiver news. 2 bits of wide receiver news.
Lots of it.
And it's pretty telling for a contender and one team that's looking to be one this year. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. big here. We have Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins officially signing his franchise tender. He will be with the Cincinnati Bengals. Zach Taylor saying, I'm excited to move forward with T. He's done a great job handling his situation, and we're happy to get him back on the field.
Shout out PR for getting him the script to read off of.
Yeah, that's the most generic thing a coach could possibly say in this situation. But T. Higgins will be back on the franchise tag for the Cincinnati Bengals, which for Joe Burrow, you need every weapon you can because the window is now for Cincy.
Yes.
They have to be in contention this year because you're paying everybody.
Yeah, Burrow's getting paid. Chase is going to get paid. T's getting paid.
Yep. And guys, you're going to have to make decisions, and guys are going to have to leave, like we see with the San Francisco 49ers,
Indeed.
where they've been making these tough decisions because when you draft really well, you can't keep everybody.
Oh.
Dems to breaks, especially when you draft really well in consecutive years. And we saw it with DeForest Buckner. We saw it this year with Eric Armstead. Now we are seeing it with Brandon Ayuk at wide receiver. And this audio over the weekend that Brandon Ayuk's girlfriend posted, fiance, wife,
partner,
significant other,
other,
posted to TikTok. This got the attention of the football world.
Bro, what?
What happened, bro?
They said they don't want me back. I swear.
Oh my. That was Jaden Daniels he was FaceTiming with, quarterback of the Washington Commanders, his former quarterback at Arizona State. He said they don't want me back, the San Francisco 49ers, that is. And Jaden Daniels then goes, like, the Commanders have a ton of cap room. Are they going to make a move? And what is going on with Brandon Ayuk?
I don't know. This is the like I said, it's the old tweet where, different position groups and what they say when they're given a microphone. Quarterback says praise God, tight end says derp, wide receiver says speak quietly because everyone is trying to stab you in the back. Because it's like the mind of the wide receiver is nuts. How many stable wide receivers are there in the NFL? I mean,
a majority.
No. I'm talking about like number one type option guys. How many of those guys are stable? Don't do absolutely off the path weird stuff.
I would say a majority. I think you look at the ones that are psychos are really psychos. Like they're very weird. Very weird. But I mean, and we're looking at this situation where with Brandon Ayuk, this started last season when he was like wanting to go to the Raiders. And
that's always a problem.
Yeah, right? But it was like his brother was tweeting out about like, get him to the Raiders. He doesn't want to be here anymore. And then he comes over the top and says, they don't want me here. Well, I'm pretty sure the San Francisco 49ers would want Brandon Ayuk there. But at the number that he is looking for, he is not Justin Jefferson.
No, and
he shouldn't get Justin Jefferson.
Mike Silver of the San Francisco Chronicle has reported that he's been offered a $26 million a year deal, which
means he's probably looking for around 30. He's looking for about $30 million a year.
Which, if you're the number 4 option, you're not getting.
No, and that's what he is. He's a really damn good receiver. I think that says more about what the 49ers have from a weapon standpoint.
Yes.
But that is his pecking order in San Francisco because it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Deebo Samuel, it's George Kittle, and then it's Brandon Ayuk.
And $26 million for that slot is good.
That would be great money.
If you're the 4th option on a team and you're getting $26 million a year,
now
you're doing fan-freaking-tastic.
When he is saying they don't want me, it's no, they don't want you at the price that you're asking right there. And if you want to go over that, well then no, they don't. John Lynch is, and justifiably so, is saying we are not going to overpay for somebody who, as it currently stands, is not one of our top 3 options in our offense. Now, is he productive? Wildly productive. He is a really good wide receiver. And I don't want this to get, misconstrued because he is a very good receiver. But is he going to be as good when he doesn't have the protection of the other three guys that we were talking about? How many sets of eyes have to be on Deebo Samuel in the middle of the field, in underneath coverage? Because anywhere that Deebo goes, you have to know where 19 is. You have to know where George Kittle is at all times on the field. And that at that point, you're going, oh, yeah, by the way, there's Christian McCaffrey, who's the running back and keeping defenses honest, occupying a safety's eyes or a linebacker's eyes because he is back out of the backfield. Yeah. That opens up so much of the field for Brandon Aiyuk. Like 3rd and Juwan was a thing last year with Juwan Jennings. There's a reason why Juwan Jennings was always open on 3rd down, because he's not getting the best corner and he's not getting any attention at all.
It's a good place to be.
It's a great place to be. But it's also what Brandon Aiyuk will do. He'll get that money, whatever he's asking for. But we may go back and we may look at it and say, they paid $30 million for Brandon Aiyuk.
Which, that's tough.
Because you have to think of what defenses are doing. On a pecking order, you make a list. Where is Brandon Aiyuk? On that list of San Francisco 49ers, we are going to stop in this order.
He's 4th.
He's 4th.
Yeah.
He is 4th.
And if you put him in the wide receiver category, he's top 10? Squinting? Maybe? Top 15? Sure.
Yeah.
Top 10? So should he be getting top 10 money? Probably not. Because I think Aiyuk's incredibly good, and he's obviously been coming on the last couple of years, but you haven't seen him without all those additional layers, without that offensive line, without a quarterback that fits the system, without a incredibly great schematic coach, without Christian McCaffrey, without Greg Kittle, without Deebo Samuel, like all of those things that allow for successes.
You call him Greg?
Oh, did I say Greg?
It's
George?
A running internet joke, and I thought you did that on purpose.
No, I said Greg, but no, George. Geez, good Lord, I said Greg.
Well, he kind of acts like a Greg.
He does act like a Greg, but why did I say Greg? Good Lord, George.
It's a joke on the internet. I thought you were leaning into the bit, and it made me laugh.
I mean, no, I leaned into being a dummy.
Just go down this list here. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, hell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, because we've seen he is a guy who's commanded attention, and defenses are looking at him as the number one.
Did you say AJ?
AJ Brown. You've got Devontae Adams still.
Would you throw Cooper Kupp in there?
Still better. Yeah.
I feel like him and
I mean, they're different. I mean, they're so
DK.
They're so
DK's
different.
in the conversation, I would think.
Yeah, DK's in that conversation because look, anybody that you're sitting there and you're going, I don't know. Defenses are accounting for them as number ones.
Yes.
And that is the greatest wild card with Brandon Aiyuk is he has never been accounted for as a number one. He has been, when Deebo goes out, sure, bump him up to 3rd, right? But he has never been accounted for as the number one in every other guy that we just mentioned. And that was a pretty easy list to get to 9.
Without even looking.
We got to 9 pretty quickly.
And that usually is the signifier of like, yeah, you're not that guy.
And then now we're going, all right, let's start going to the guys that we can squint. Stephon Diggs, for God's sakes.
Mike Evans.
We didn't even say Stephon Diggs. Mike Evans, old, but still
number one.
Still a number one.
Been the number one for a decade.
Over a decade. Like that is where you go down and you say, I understand what San Francisco's doing. And the Washington Commanders, there would not be I wouldn't think twice about saying they're the leader in the clubhouse to go and get him. You have Adam Peters is your GM. Where did he come from? San Francisco. You have Jaden Daniels. Where did he come from? Arizona State.
Quarterback.
It was his quarterback his freshman year and Aiyuk's senior year or junior year at Arizona State. Okay? You have 2 connections right there. Oh, who has a buttload of salary cap space? The Washington Commanders do.
And what have they not done in free agency?
Got a
weapon,
game-changing number one. And look, if you can pair McLaurin and Aiyuk together,
and now you don't have to worry about him being the number one. They can alternate it.
But you're going to be paying him $30 million to do it, and that's going to be the freight that you're going to have to pay. I mean, it's a roll of the dice. But to say that the 49ers don't want him, no, they just don't want you at your number.
Yes.
And that goes back to your meme that you were talking about with, they want to kill me.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
It's always something made up. All right, coming up next, worst day on the web. Everything in Australia wants to kill you, but sometimes humans get even. But first, here's Big Wheel Bets with the Sports Center Update.
Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
There's no place quite like Australia where literally everything wants to kill you.
It's the Florida country.
No, Florida ain't got nothing on Australia.
It's the Florida of countries.
Okay,
like it is like weird happens there, and I think I really am onto something with the sun bakes your brain. It boils your brain stew.
Yeah, but there's
makes
the thing,
you weird.
Like, the Middle East doesn't really have that in the sense of like the animal kingdom.
Yeah, because they probably just already killed all the animals there.
They probably all just cooked to death. That makes sense.
Yeah. But with Australia, literally everything can kill you there.
I mean, even the cute little cuddly koala bear has 1 million STDs.
Yeah, that's an upset.
Isn't that insane?
When you see,
it's like one of the foremost carriers of syphilis.
That sounds
I
correct.
think it's syphilis.
That sounds correct, but then what is it that what do armadillos carry? Armadillos carry maybe gonorrhea or something.
It's chlamydia for the koala.
Chlamydia
for the koala. The armadillo, they carry some sort of leprosy. There it is. Well, that's not an STD. Well, it could be, but you could die from the armadillo. Then you have the cheetah. I think the cheetah carries the herpes virus. But sharks are just like, dude, we bit a couple people and they made a movie about us and we get a bad rap?
Yeah, they're the old folks. The cheetahs and the koalas are the old folks' home of the animal kingdom.
That's right.
But
nobody talks about this.
Sharks are out here just like, oh, I had a little nibble.
Yeah.
In
my bad.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we're in their world when that happens.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Also, their world makes up 75% of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe just stay out of that world.
Bingo.
Just saying.
Bingo.
Speaking of the ocean and saltwater.
And polar bears will stalk you for a week and then kill you. But hey, Coca-Cola has a beautiful commercial about them.
Coca-Cola bear. They're cute and cuddly.
What are we doing?
A remote Australian community has taken revenge on a 12-foot saltwater crocodile that has been blamed for devouring pets and chasing children.
12-foot croc?
12-foot saltwater croc.
And they're mean.
Yeah, crocs, remember, long, skinny snout. Alligator, big, fat head.
Yeah.
That's the telling part.
Because they're medulla oblongata.
Mm-hmm.
Waterboy taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're mad because
they got toothbrush. They got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Mm-hmm. And then my mama said. My
mom was
wrong.
Mama
said. A great movie.
So they trapped it, shot it, and killed it.
Oh.
But they took it a step further.
Made boots?
They dressed it up and ate it.
Oh, no way.
The whole community came together and said, "Oh, you want to eat my dog? All right.
See?
Bet."
Florida of countries. Right there. That is Florida man. That is Baton Rouge, Cajun man. Down there, they'll just kill a croc or a gator. Yep. Dinner tonight. So they just made a community feast out of this 12-foot croc.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I bet you they will make handbags, boots,
belt,
hat bands, belts. They're going to go the whole 9 yards. Maybe even a leather vest. I don't know. You have a crocodile vest going on. They're going to maximize every foot of that 12-foot croc. That is a spite move that I'm sure you are very proud of.
I am. I'm very proud of it. In the same region last year, they said the remains of a 64-year-old fisherman were recovered from inside a crocodile.
That crocodile?
No, just a crocodile.
Oh. I was like, that's gross. You figured that out mid-bite?
Oh, man. That would be a horrible way to go. And then you know how they do the gator roll?
They're not
just
killing you.
You're not just dead. It is no, this is going to hurt. You're probably going to drown. And it's going to hurt because they're biting you.
Ripping limbs off.
And then they're just going to eat you. That would be an awful way to go.
Oof. Yeah, because unless it tears your head off, you could be alive for a little while. Think about that.
Wait, if they tear your head off?
No, if it doesn't tear your head off.
I was what? I'm pretty sure that's the way you want it to go, is if they tear your head off.
Everyone knows humans are
because gators, they don't chew their food up a whole ton.
Yeah.
It's meant for ripping, and then they kind of gulp it down, and then sharks and alligators have both been found with like metal in their stomach, and then like it'll eventually over time it'll digest metal. Like their stomach acid's so violent that'll
It's wild.
It's up there. So they Australia getting petty with their gators.
Yeah. No, I don't have any problem with that. You know, sometimes you got to send a message. Sometimes you got to fight back against them gators. And at least you're not just killing it and then just like getting rid of the body. They had a feast. They had a feast. They'll have some fine goods made from the skin. I mean, if you're going to go ahead and do that,
figure some stuff out.
You know, make it worth the while.
Yeah.
Alligator tastes good, and I'm sure crocodile tastes the same.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a lot like chicken versus turkey.
I don't know if... Is it really? I don't... You're just saying that. I don't think you know.
What's the
It's a little bit more salty because it's saltwater crocodile.
Yeah. Seasoned.
Pizza Schmitza back in the day used to have a
Gator pizza
that was amazing.
Gators
Gators
really
legitimately
good. The only like pushback to it is that texturally it's a little gamey. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like if you ever had duck. Duck is just like dark meat chicken but slightly more gamey.
So alligator is basically duck?
No.
Cuz I've not had duck, but I have had gator.
Oh, wait. Because it does, yeah.
Actually,
it kind of does.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's a little gamey.
That just blew your mind.
There's just a little gamey aftertaste. That's it.
Done. Yeah.
Again, deep fried gator bites. You can go to if you ever want to try them. If you're flying through DFW and you give a layover, scroll over to Pappadeaux's, grab some gator bites.
Gator bites good.
They are. Anytime I'm routed through DFW, I will meander on down to Pappadeaux's and get some gator bites every single time.
What? In this, again, great part about living in the Pacific Northwest, in the
don't
great
have
state
to
of
worry
Oregon,
about it.
we don't have to worry about gators.
We don't have to worry about anything in our water other than like leeches, and that's if you're in a pond.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the river, the lampreys.
Like once you get to, like in our area, there's not really much that you need to worry about. But like when you get to Eastern Oregon, Central Oregon, Southern Oregon, you get rattlesnakes, black widows, some like brown recluse spiders in those areas.
Recluses are even over here too.
But we don't have very many of them.
No.
Like it's really not an issue.
Do you know we have porcupines out here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't?
Well, I mean, you just don't see them all that often.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, they're in the woods.
Yeah, they're
in Hawkinson.
They're cool, man.
Yeah. My first time I played at Bandon, we were coming up on 18, and there was just porcupine just chilling right in the middle of the fairway.
Nice.
I mean, I didn't hit the fairway, so he was safe. But it was just chilling right in the middle. I was like, I'll be damned.
Have you seen
a little coasty porcupine?
Have you seen the viral golf video of the guy hitting the goose at the tee box?
No.
Hits a stinger and absolutely smokes a goose in the head. Super dead.
I'll tell you what.
Super dead. Also, geese a-holes. So
I don't mind.
They are Canadian.
They are a-holes of the air and land.
Yeah. Geese will bite.
You can get alligator meat, a pound of it, $24.
Move over, steak and spinach for breakfast, Will Ortner. You're going to have some gator.
You can get a whole skinned alligator for somewhere between $250 and $1,000.
What are you on Craigslist? Like what? Where are you finding like a full skinned gator?
I'm at LouisianaCrawfish.co.
Oh, hey, all right.
You can get a boneless turtle meat bag, $75.
Okay.
I've had turtle soup.
Never.
Turtle soup, shark fin soup. Although I don't think they do this. I think PETA like really pushed back hard against the shark fin soup because sharks were being hunted and like fins were taking off and they're just throwing the sharks back.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's not
problematic.
Good.
It's kind of like the Japanese whaling industry where they just kind of like, we don't care about your regulations. We're just going to hunt this thing to extinction.
I mean, I think really, and this is good text on the Vancouver Ford text line. Like cougars, and not the good kind, are the only things that we need to worry about here.
Yeah.
I mean they're scary.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. Do not mess with the murder kitten. That thing is not to be trifled with.
Every now and then there'll be a video that will pop up
somebody
of like
getting stalked.
Getting stalked, and they have to like use like an air horn and like scare it away or
spray.
It's one of them was like it started charging the guy and he shot at it.
Yeah.
And
if you're like,
nope.
Yes, I'm gun guy, but also if you're out like hiking in the wilderness, you should have at least a 44 to 45 caliber handgun with you. If you're out in I'm talking the deep, deep woods, because if that's the only thing that's going to stop that thing.
Yeah. Not my cougar spray.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to trust your life to some spray, go for it. Not me, buddy.
And I don't mean cool water. I mean
Polo Sport.
It seems like a cougar spray right there. They're like,
just comes around the corner. Meow.
Hey.
All right, coming up next, you want to hear about the coolest 9-year-old of all time?
Yes.
All right, we'll get to that and more. Coming on Danny Dusty today, the fan. in X Games history. It was memorialized, thrown across every single sports show during the summer, an unbreakable barrier. When X Games was at its peak, with Sal Masekela absolutely losing his collective mind. It was the quad axel in figure skating. It was like nobody will ever be able to do that.
Except for Chaz Michael McMichaels.
There you go.
You know?
But it was a barrier that you just didn't think was possible. Now, you have a 9-year-old doing not one, not two, but 3 of them with Sal Masekela and Tony Hawk looking on.
All right, Emma.
Are we going 3 900s right now? 1.
He's like, yeah, here's my best trick.
2.
Is that 1800?
Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
Here we go. History of the making.
3-peat.
And a kick for body burial 540.
He's got to be a little dizzy.
He's trying to unwind with the front side.
Yes. Yes.
9-year-old Emma Kawakami.
Okay. Couple things here. If you are participating in a sport that a 9-year-old can be at the top of the sport, it's tough. That's really tough. But like kids, they have an advantage in this because
they're flexible and they're light.
It's about your weight, and you can create torque on the board. Like it's one of those things where like kid gymnasts, right? Like they have to be 12 to compete in the Olympics now because of the fact that like you're bendy, you're pliable, and you don't weigh nearly as much.
You weigh 40 pounds.
That'd be a tough look if you're training your whole life to go in the X Games and you get showed up by a 9-year-old. Like you're just like, well, them's the breaks. That was ridiculous, though.
And he's taking this thing out of the pipe. It's not like he's landing this like low in. It's done in a vert ramp. So you have to have enough air to be able to throw a 900. So,
that's crazy.
But the way that he gets around on this 3 times in a row, and he's probably 7 feet out of the pipe.
Look, and it was a great reminder that the X Games still exist.
And it's super cool because you hear Tony Hawk on the call. And Sal Masekela, which if you're our age and we grew up at the advent of the X Games.
Put him on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Let's go. Skate or die, bro.
But it's kind of insane, though, when you're talking about a 9. Like, yes, younger and more pliable and more bouncy. They're less likely to snap, crackle, and pop when they fall. But a 9-year-old doing this is still absolutely unhinged.
I just put this like in perspective of like, at what age was that kid like going off of jumps? And as a parent, you're like, yeah, full send, go, bro. Let's go. I'd be like, no.
This kid had to have been doing it like.
Don't be an idiot. Like, how long has he been training?
This is probably one of those kids that got on. It's like when you see a kid, I don't know, hop on a bicycle at a young age, like way younger than you would expect a kid to be on a bicycle, and they just have it. That level of control and balance. This is probably a kid that hopped on a skateboard like 3 years old and was like actually functional on it.
Yeah, but he's also going, take that, Malcolm Gladwell. 10,000 hours, mine.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need 10,000 hours. I haven't been alive 10,000 hours. I'm just going to skate. I'm just going to throw these 900s here and become a legend in front of Tony Hawk. Badass.
The first person to ever land one.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. All right, coming up here in hour number 3, we're a little bit more than a week away from the NBA draft, and mock drafts are starting to tighten up. Where are the players that have linked to the Trailblazers landing, and what players are being currently mocked to the Trailblazers? That and more coming up here in hour number 3. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. YouTube.com/1080am The Fan, Twitch.tv/1080am The Fan, or on 1080am. We appreciate you. We love you, and hope you're enjoying us on this blustery Portland afternoon.
Heck yeah.
You can enjoy some more if you come out and join us at the Autotown. GMC presents the 10th Annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club. Come join us for our unique golf experience on Thursday, July 11th. The afternoon round, sold out.
Gone.
Gandhi.
Can't get in.
The morning round is left and down to a single-digit number of foursomes. Matt's Barbecue is back to serve their award-winning food in the usual way of craft beverages. Victorico's Mexican food is also back with their famous breakfast burritos. I don't have one near me, so this is my opportunity to have a nice little Victorico's breakfast burrito.
You can find me at the 185th location at least once a week.
You can warm up for your round on the Michelob Ultra driving range. All of our shows, Dirt and Sprague, Dusty and I, and Isaac and Suk, will all be broadcasting live and on location, and we will rotate through the par 3/6 clown hole that 8 people alive, the Turtle Shell Greens, 8 people alive here at the past U.S. Open, which you can relive a lesser experience, I'm sure. Well, you know what? It might be warm enough to bake that thing. They might need to soak that thing down.
We'll water it down for you.
There you go. Make it a little bit easier. Sign up your foursome now at 1080thefan.com before it sells out. Woo! Speaking of dates that are important that are coming up very quickly, the NBA draft is now 9 days away.
9 days.
9 days. A week from Wednesday. With that, the mock drafts are starting to come out a little bit more frequently, and there's things be a-changing.
It's really interesting to see this, the way that these mock drafts are being unraveled, because we've talked about the inconsistency with where people are evaluating this draft, because it's like you have your 1-2 and then there's a massive drop off and you don't really know where things are going to go. You also have, turnover in front offices. Like you've mentioned the Trajan Langdon, shift in Detroit, and what they're going to do is now people are going, we have no earthly idea what direction they're going to go in. And then you have so many teams with needing to take big swings because they have massive holes to fill. Usually you have it narrowed down to, okay, this team needs this. We can narrow it down to a few guys. There is a large swath of teams, including Portland and San Antonio, which each have 2 picks in the lottery this year, that they're like, we've got a lot of holes and we have no idea where we're going to go. And then the fact that Atlanta jumped up so high in this draft and nobody has any earthly idea which of the top 2 prospects they're going to take, it's getting even weirder.
Yeah. On the intel side of things, I have heard that Atlanta, and this is prime lying season, so take it for what it's worth as far as the intel circuits are concerned, that they're interested in moving back and getting some draft capital, particularly with San Antonio, because San Antonio controls some of their picks from the DeJounte Murray trade, and if they're going to reset, they need their own picks.
And, by the way, Alex Sarr is from
France.
Zach Rizachet is
France.
Okay.
So, I've also heard that if they're going to trade back, they like Donovan Clingan. If they do stay at the top, there's real truth to them liking Zachary Rizachet, which I like Rizachet. I do not like him better than Sarr. I just unequivocally, I have Sarr as the one player on my board that is number one, no matter what.
He's freaky, man. He is 7'1" and can run up
just
and down the
move floor. with or without the ball. I've never seen a 7-footer put the ball down on the floor with his level of like control and burst. It's creepy. It doesn't look right.
Like I don't know if I've seen a 7. Well, no, of his size, 7'1",
no,
picking up a guard on the perimeter willingly and just being like,
and tracking him, not like kind of keeping up with him, staying up and cutting off lanes. It's not normal. But beyond that, I have heard from multiple front office executives that their boards do not match what are out there currently with mocks. Even the most well-connected, maybe 10-20% of the picks they agree with, like match up in their board, like slotting wise.
And that's why we've talked about this ad nauseum, that every time we go through a mock draft, we see different names and different imaginations of which names are connected to Portland. It is the weirdest It's the weirdest draft that I can remember. I mean, working here for 15 years, I can't remember a year where it was there were so many names connected to Portland. And having 2 draft picks and having number 7 and number 14, I mean, that puts it in a weird position, right? Because either they're really high or they're out of the lottery. And so but right now, having 7 and 14, you're sitting there and you're looking at it going, who the hell knows right now? And that is a weird territory to be in, because it's who the hell knows, because they have so many holes.
Yeah.
They could draft somebody at every single position with the exception of point guard, and you'd be like, yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, a couple weeks ago, every mock had Modest Buzelis going 5th to Detroit. There's only one service that does right now, and that's Kevin O'Connor at the Ringer. I'm sorry, not Kevin O'Connor. It was Yahoo. Kristen Peak, Kristen Peak will be on with us next Monday.
Hey, yo.
If you look at Jonathan Wasserman, who will be on tomorrow afternoon to join us to talk some NBA draft, he has Cody Williams going number 5. Cody Williams of Colorado is a guy whose name has moved up.
And the Ringer just posted Kevin O'Connor. He has him 5th.
Number 5th as well.
Going to...
Number 5th. Number 5.
Yeah, going to the Detroit Pistons.
Speaking of the Ringer, Kevin O'Connor has Donovan Clingan going number 7 overall. That is, 7 is seen as Donovan Clingan's floor. If he falls to 7, Portland will take him as a best player available situation.
And not think twice.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
If Williams is gone
in front of him? Clingan.
Okay.
I'm saying if Clingan's there, I'm not 100% certain. I have a reeling suspicion of which way they would go there. Clingan doesn't necessarily fit their archetype prototype. This is going to sound like I'm crushing him, but it's not. They moved away from Yusuf Nurkic for a reason.
Well, okay.
And
Clingan is 7'2",
barefoot,
heavy-footed.
Yes,
guy.
He moves well for his size.
Yeah, he's a defensive dog, though.
Yeah,
but they want more skill.
More fluidity and athleticism in that. Now they do need better screeners. They do need. That's a real thing that they need. And Clingan does provide that. Him and Edey are probably your best screeners in the draft. But you take a look at that. He is not a vertical threat. He's not a pick and roll threat. He's solid around the rim, but number one, the Blazers aren't looking to post anybody up, but he's not that really as a guy that you go to, which it doesn't really matter. But as far as like how they have talked about and what I've heard that they like in their bigs, he doesn't really fit. Now, he does add the screening and playmaking.
I was going to say, just give me a big, solid screener that can let Scoot get downhill, can let Ant, if he's here, or Shaden come off and get moving downhill.
The flip side of that is Clingan's not a great roll guy. It's not a guy that you have to, like, he's not catching and he might make a play on it 4-on-3, but he's not this guy that he catches and dives to the rim and finishes with ferocity. Like, that's not who he is. He's 280 pounds. That's him losing weight, is 280 pounds. He was last year, he's over 300. So he's a mountain of a human. He's a big, big, big dude, like, which is a good thing to have. But think about that with Scoot Henderson. If you have this big guy who doesn't have a ton of vertical or rim rolling gravity, then you're just going to
not a perimeter shooter either.
Yeah, and you're just going to under that pick and roll to death. So, like, I'm a little hesitant of that pick. At 14, Kevin O'Connor has Tidjane Salaün from France, who is
if he's there, we've seen him at 4. As high as 4.
14 is his floor, I think.
Down to 14.
I think that's his floor.
Like, and I've said this before, I would be okay if he was the pick at 7 even. But we'll see kind of how the draft board shakes out in front of Portland 1 through 6. And then you got to start making those decisions. But I mean, that if they were to get a Clingan Salaün type draft, I would be in. I would be so far in. I think it would be really exciting because Tidjane Salaün, he's going to be a project.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the guy who fits the arc age-wise, is
physical profile,
a really good defender, he's like the hustle guy, right? But is he going to be the shooter that they kind of need right now to fill holes? Because kind of sounds like he's a couple years behind the guy who we all fell in love with this year was the steal in the trade from Phoenix in Toumani Camara. Right? hustle, really tough defender, will be physical. But we saw long stretches of the season where Toumani Camara was just buried in the corner, not doing much of anything on the offensive end. And you need this draft, this team, they need a little bit of punch offensively.
If you take a look at Jonathan Wassman, he has Clingan at 7. He has Tristan Da Silva at 14, who Da Silva just came through on his workout, his second time through. He came through last year. High floor, lower ceiling kind of guy. High IQ, can do a little bit of everything, can put the ball on the floor, can defend, can shoot, can make reads. Just a smart player. I heard some people kind of say, his lack of athleticism.
He's not explosive at all.
And that's things like, I kind of like guys that aren't, their game isn't, like, of course I want prime Andre Iguodala coming out of Arizona, or prime Vince Carter. But as those guys age into their prime, they do lose a little bit of that athleticism. And when you've spent your whole life being able to out-athlete everyone, your game needs to change. Like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was a guy who was just a dumb athlete coming out, but was incredibly raw. He had to mature his game, and now you still see flashes of it, like driving to the rim and absolutely punching on the Mavs in Game 2 and Game 3. But you see a lot more craft in his game now. Da Silva's coming in the league with craft. And I think particularly when you're talking about role players, guys that have high-level craft, they're kind of like mid and late career Nick Batums, where you're like, yeah, they're athletic, but their game isn't predicated on that. It's high level. Kyle Anderson is a perfect example. Came into the league not athletic. His nickname's Slow-Mo for a reason, but it doesn't matter. Boris Diaw is another one where you're just like, the things that they do, it's so much cerebral and understanding what to do, when to do, how to do it, and being ahead of the curve. So I like Da Silva, but if they're taking Clingan at 7, I would like to see an upside swing somewhere. And if you think Clingan's that's fine, but that's not me. Kristen Peak, who again we'll have on next week, she has Portland taking Cody Williams at 7, Tajon Salon going 8 to the Spurs, which is.
Again, one draft mock has 14, the other one has 7.
And then at 14, Kaishan George, who just worked out.
Okay, if it could be any further than 8 to 14, Kevin O'Connor has him mocked at 26. And she has the Blazers taking him at 14. The breadth of where guys are seen in this draft is absolutely bonkers.
14 to like 24 to 26, somewhere in that range. Basically, essentially the second half of the draft. You can talk to scouts who've been doing this for 30 years, someone who's been doing this for 2 years, and you're just going to get different information. And it's not that somebody else's intel is better or worse necessarily. It's all eye of the beholder stuff. Like, I've talked to executives on the same staff who have said one thing about one guy and then had a vastly different opinion on another.
Can we just get this out of the way right now? We need to stop the people who are going to talk themselves into the picks as being awesome, and stop the people that are going to make these picks and make their assessment be, oh, that was a horrible pick. The reality is, at 7 and 14 in the 2024 NBA draft, you have no effing idea. Because nobody has any idea. This is going to be the ultimate, like, see if it works.
Let's check back in 5 years.
And that's why I want to look at this draft. And if Portland, if we can all say at the end of the draft, next Wednesday, at the end of the first round.
Like, they took some swings?
That, hey, they took a big swing. They put Joe Cronin, put him on the table and said, hey, we're going to trust it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's where I'm at.
I want take a big swing, take upside. Don't be safe, because the reality is nobody knows right now. Nobody knows. So take that swing, and if they are in, they won't be good in 2024.
But if they go down swinging, they go down swinging.
They go down swinging, and then you have the 25 draft, and then we'll see. We'll move on from there.
That one's a little bit more poignant. You better nail that one.
Yes, it is.
All right, coming up next, the College Football Hall of Fame strikes again as another generational coach could be left out, and what he's doing about it. Danny and Dusty, tonight, The Fan. Last week. Well, I'm just saying.
What's wrong with baseball's Hall of Fame?
We don't have that much time.
It doesn't have Pete Rose, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds in it.
Dan Le Batard said it stripped away his 7 MLB or MVP seasons away from his stats, and said, "Here's his stats." And he had like 358 stolen bases and 400 and something home runs. He's like, nobody's ever done that either.
Barry needs to be a Hall of Famer.
Barry's the greatest player of all time. I don't know why we're arguing.
He needs to be a Hall of Famer.
It's all very dumb. Speaking of people who need to be Hall of Famers,
gatekeepers.
Les Miles, former LSU coach, is now suing LSU because of vacated wins. Because his vacated wins, and remember, we talked about this last week with Mike Leach.
My new life's work. Besides raising my children.
A 599 or 59.7% winning percentage all time with Mike Leach.
5.996.
Okay, so
he's 0.0004% away from being in the Hall of Fame.
He's a win away.
Yeah. And it would have been the bowl game had he not died. Think about that. It would have been the bowl game they won had he not died. They still would have won that game because we're playing in like the farts.com bowl. And if he gets that one win, Mike Leach is in.
On that same token, LSU vacated 37 wins.
Dang, bro.
37 wins. They are announced as part of the penalties for LSU's football men's basketball programs by the NCAA's Independent Accountability Resolution Process. If there's not a more dumb, made-up thing than that in the NCAA, my God, that's an impressive amount of just stupid.
That's a fact, Jack.
37 vacated wins will drop Les Miles' overall record from 145-73, otherwise known as just under a 67% all-time winning percentage, which, good God, down to 597.
0.003.
Percentage away from 600 with at least 100 games to qualify for the College Football Hall of Fame.
Dang.
He helped LSU to a national title and won 2 SEC titles while also coaching at Oklahoma State and Kansas.
He took over the Kansas football. That should get you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Even though he did go 0-9 his last year at Kansas.
It happens. But, again, I will say this, as I said for Mike Leach, as I said for Les Miles. Or say this for Les Miles, as I said for Mike Leach. You cannot tell a story of college football without Les Miles.
I think you can.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't think he's not nearly as influential as Mike Leach is. I
feel like if you win a national title,
Les Miles was a really good coach.
Larry Coker.
But Larry Coker, Butch Davis, you get some questionable coaches that have taken over juggernauts.
Sure.
And been able to be really damn good. It wasn't like Les Miles walked into a bare cupboard.
No.
He took over for Nick Saban, who won a national title. And then 2 years later, he won a national title. Ed Orgeron won a national title at LSU. Now, Ed O did it on the back of recruits that were brought in by Les Miles, though. Right?
Les Miles went 114-34.
LSU is and was a powerhouse in the world of college football. And Les Miles maintained that. He was a really good coach there. But I think, like, when you talk about being able to tell the story of college football, I look at guys like Mike Leach, and he reinvented the way we think about throwing the football. He reinvented the way that we think about offensive linemen with massive splits and creating bigger windows for your quarterback to throw through, putting defenses in a pickle on, all right, are we going to still line up the same way, or are we going to allow them to actually run the football in the air raid? Because Mike Leach always said it. He's like, we'll run the football. If you give us the numbers to run the football, we're going to do it. But he had a way of keeping teams honest. And Mike Leach was something that I don't think college football will ever have again. because of the personality he had, the person he was, and what he meant to the game. Les Miles was a recruiting machine that dabbled in the gray area more than anybody else.
He was also 5-1 in New Year's Six with a national title.
Yeah, he's a really damn good football coach, and he is Hall of Fame.
That's a Hall of Fame caliber coach.
He is Hall of Fame worthy, and he deserves a spot in there. And I think Les Miles should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean,
5 top 10 finishes, including a first and a second.
You just mentioned it. 114-34 at LSU. And then he went to Kansas, where he went 3-18 at Kansas.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not great. That's not a great. It's not a great run by any measure.
He did take 3 years off of the old head coaching there, though.
Yeah, because of the NCAA investigation that got his wins vacated. From
Why aren't the losses vacated?
Because you lost anyways.
But
I don't know. You should vacate the losses though too.
That seems like
and every game should be counted as a no contest for you and a win for another program. Yeah.
Because if that happened, his winning percentage would be back over 60%.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to deal with this.
We need to find some teams that pop some NCAA violations so Mike Leach gets a couple wins too. Get him just one more win. Just one.
Literally,
just one team that cheated and you're like, bam, popped it. Get that win to old Pirate. Get him in the Hall of Fame.
Not too difficult. All right, coming up next. Your favorite segment of the day, Dusty. WNBA.
No.
You don't want to do it here?
No.
You want to do some Rory then?
Yes.
Okay. We'll say the WNBA one to rile you up for a little bit later. Rory has issued a notes clarification. We'll get that and more. But first, there's Big Will Bets, the Sports Center update. Usually some form of apology or a clarification on either something you said or did previously that you need to atone for. I don't know if that's necessarily that, but Rory McIlroy did the old notes apology and posted across social media, and it reads as follows. It's a little lengthy. Yesterday was a tough day. Probably the toughest I've had in my nearly 17 years as a professional golfer.
Yeah.
You think?
I can see why. You had a 2-stroke lead with 5 holes to play, and you gacked it away with 3 bogeys on the final 4 holes.
And it's been a decade since you won a major. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Bryson. He's a worthy champion, exactly what professional golf needs right now, and I think we can all agree on that. As I reflect on my week, I'll rue a few things over the course of the tournament, mostly the 2 missed putts on 16 and 18 on the final day. But as I always try to do, I'll look at the positives of the week that far outweigh the negatives. As I said at the start of the tournament, I feel closer to winning my next major championship than I ever have. I mean, he's not wrong. He finished second. The one word that I would describe my career as is resilient. All right. I've shown my resilience over and over again in the last 17 years, and I will again. I'm going to take a few weeks away from the game to process everything and build myself back up for my defense of the Genesis Scottish Open and the Open at Royal Troon. See you in Scotland.
Okay, I do agree with that. I'm not anti-Rory.
No, I'm pro Rory.
I am pro Rory. But he absolutely essed the bed last night.
It was a big old baby crab.
But people being upset that he didn't go out and congratulate Bryson on the 18th green, get over yourself, first of all. Like, he was pissed, and he was pissed at himself, and I would love it if he went out and was like, "Hey, congratulations, that was awesome."
Hey, let me go ahead and see that time that you and one of your worst moments.
Am I ever going to blame him for being like, "Dude, no, I can't do this"? It looked like he was being tortured when he was in the clubhouse watching Bryson come up 18. Like, it was just like he was just watching it, just like he was getting kicked in the junk over and over and over again, because just as much as Bryson making the shots, he was beating himself up over his missed opportunities. I mean, we went over this 496 straight putts inside of 4 feet, and he nailed them, and he missed 2 in a 3-hole span. That's insane. And even worse than I can't believe he did not shake his hand, are the people that are saying, like, he tore out of the parking lot and he's peeled out. It's like, no, he didn't. He slowly backed his vehicle out of the parking lot and then drove away. It wasn't like he was out of control by any measure. What is up with people in golfers driving that they are so fixated on how they're driving? Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. Is it
Tiger Woods?
Is Tiger what did it for us? It's like, damn, bad drivers these golfers are, But they made much ado about nothing. And do I feel as if Rory McIlroy, if he's complaining about money and the PGA Tour not giving them a big enough piece of the pie, well, yeah, you should do your media obligations that you have after a round, right? Because that's where the money comes from.
Part of the deal.
The television deals are where money comes from.
And he's supposed to be the face.
Exactly.
Of the PGA.
So I'll hear that, but I'm not going to crush him for it.
No.
I think that it says a lot people are going, look at the PGA Championship when Bryson took second and he was the first person to congratulate Xander Schauffele. He didn't melt down on the final 4 holes of the tournament and blow a 2-shot lead because he couldn't make a putt inside of 4 feet.
Nor does he have a decade of not necessarily futility, but falling short.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to be kind of the face of the game. It's a different level of weight.
Not all losses are created equal here, right? I mean, you would rather have the 38-point loss in Game 4 that the Celtics had than a buzzer beater where you're grinding to the end when you're like, God, that ripped our soul
Having your
out.
heart ripped out.
Like, those losses suck way worse.
Served on a platter.
When you lose big, you're like, yep, well, I mean, that happened. You get your soul ripped out. That is completely different animal, and you can't compare the two. And so would I have liked Rory to be out there? Yeah, but you know what? I'd be pretty pissed, too, if that's the way my major championship ended. Hell, you go out and play 18 holes. You miss those 3-footers, you're going to be upset about it. You're not a professional golfer who's made 496 in a row. It's nuts. Yeah,
the statistical anomalies there are.
Pressure makes a coward out of everyone, though. You know, I mean, there are very few people that have the wherewithal to block, and that's where greatness comes through, right? That was the beauty of Tiger Woods. And why people love Tiger Woods is because you knew that Tiger was always going to come through. He was going to come through. Rory got tired. Rory felt the pressure. Rory fell apart.
Have you seen some of the further stats on Bryson and that bunker shot?
Well, not
just necessarily stats, but just some information around it on his bio.
No. On his bio?
On Bryson DeChambeau's live bio. What shot is the most difficult for you? 60-yard bunker shot.
Well, it's 55, so if it was 60, it would have been a different animal.
But I mean, it just kind of goes down the all of the different bunker shots from across the PGA, not just this event, but if you're 55 yards out, your average distance to hole is 38 feet.
He was absolutely it's freakish. That's why 1.7%. Yeah. That was the odds that he puts it inside of 4 feet. 1.7%. And then did you see the Golf Channel guy? Was it Johnson Wagner? He went out there with Bryson after, and Bryson gave him the tips to go through the same swing path, what he did. And he put it even closer. He put it like 6 inches from the cup.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, he walked through it. And
it's a great 4-minute clip.
Whoa! It's awesome.
Like
they go through
one and done situation, not multiple shots.
Yep.
No, he does a first one, then Bryson rolls in, and then after Bryson gives him the cup.
Sweet. Yeah,
wow,
it was pretty sweet.
There's a thread on Twitter from Jamie Kennedy, not that Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, not from the Jamie Kennedy Experience.
No,
not from Beverly Hills Most Wanted.
That highlights everything, including it has all the different shot tracking of all the different shots around 18 and where guys came up from and how they landed, and it's super interesting to see.
That bunker ate guys alive.
Yes, they're calling this, like, when you get the context of it, where not only the shot itself but the pressure of the shot, essentially to win.
It's an iconic shot.
It's not Tiger draining the 70-footer insane, but it's pretty damn close.
I think it is. I think it's just as crazy. I think if the distance, the moment, the fact that he got it that close, I think it's on par with some of the most iconic shots we've seen in
ever.
Golf. Like, it is, and we saw a ridiculous amount of these. Francesco Molinari hitting a hole-in-one to make the cut and go on, continue to qualify for more U.S. Opens because he made a hole-in-one on his final hole. It's like, damn, that's pretty good.
I mean, that shot was incredible.
That's incredible. But what Bryson did there, it will go down. And we have two pieces of history in the 2024 U.S. Open. We have one of the most epic collapses by one of the world's best golfers, and we have an iconic shot, a guy who blew a lead and then fought back, and that entire 18th hole is going to be relived in U.S. Open history because he goes in the mess to the left. He's got a tree root. He punches out, goes into that bunker. People are like, oh, well, looks like we're going to a playoff. Nope. Wrong. And then he makes that. That was drama through and through, and it was riveting television too, even if you weren't a golf fan.
I'll save winding you up for another day, and we'll visit the WNBA take a little bit later. Instead, we'll go with an unhinged Father's Day story that we just got to play. We'll get to that more here on Danny Dusty, Today the Fan. Cass has shared an incredible Father's Day story.
So I'm in coach pitch, and I'm so young. I don't really know what's going on at this point still. I'm still just playing baseball just to burn calories and get out there and get some sun. Right. And, I get out one day and I come back to the dugout crying, pissed, and, that's what a 6-year-old does. He sits on the bench and he cries and he doesn't want to go out there when, his team's playing defense. So my dad, being the dad that he is, trying to teach me the lessons that he did in his own special way, came into the dugout. He actually grabbed me by my shirt, dragged me to the line, and Looney Tunes style kicked me out onto the field. And actually had one of my best friends that I went to high school with later. He ended up playing pro ball. His mom actually called child services on my dad, had him arrested at the field. No, for real. This is no joke. At the field, I see my dad go away in the cop car, gets arrested, sent to nice to jail.
You're
But
kidding.
that day, my dad taught me a super valuable lesson that not a lot of people know, and it's that I had a responsibility to my teammates, I had a responsibility to my coaches, to the parents that showed up that day, all the fans who were at that Little League game, whatever it may be, to go out there and give my best effort no matter how I was feeling on the bench, no matter what I was going through that day, or whatever little hardship that I was feeling when I got out, that I still apply every single time, because sometimes I just want to sit down on this bench after I get out and I want to weep and I want to cry, but that's not how baseball is. So yeah, I love my dad to death. I wouldn't have this opportunity without him, but yeah, funny little excerpt. That's the type of guy my dad is.
Yeah, old coach pitch, huh? Dusty gonna end up in jail here soon?
No, definitely not. But I think anybody with a kid has wanted to do exactly what his dad did. And look, he's now a first baseman for the Boston Red Sox. So Looney Tunes kicking your kid apparently works.
Yeah.
I think we've all gone through that where you're like, just get out there and go. I remember, like, my dad didn't Looney Tunes kick me. No child services was called, but I got caught stealing third in Little League. And there was a complaint. They wanted my dad fired. He looked down at me and he like tapped me with his foot on my head because he was our third base coach. He goes, "Nice job, dumbass." I was like 10 years old.
What did we learn?